Okay, now the authorities said the suspect Ronn Jermaine Bell, who was 38, was behind on rent he owed Ms. Roberts Joseph, a respected community leader in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The police announced an arrest on Tuesday in the killing of Sadie Roberts, who was 75, a community leader in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and the founder of the city's African American History Museum. Chief Murphy J. Paul Jr. of the Baton Rouge Police Department said that the suspect, Ronn Jermaine Bell, was a tenant in a residence Ms. Roberts-Joseph owned. He was behind on his rent, though it was not clear if that was connected to the killing. The motive was still under investigation, Paul said. Mr. Bell was charged with first-degree murder. The authorities said he was a registered sex offender who had served time in prison for sexual battery of a child. They did not reveal how they found him, but they said they received many tips from the community. There were so many leads, there were so many people who wanted to help bring closure and arrest, Mayor Sharon Weston Broome of Baton Rouge said in a news conference with law enforcement officials on Tuesday. Ms. Roberts' body was discovered in the trunk of her own car with no visible signs of trauma in downtown Baton Rouge on Friday. Two anonymous phone calls led to her body. Chief Paul said the first call came around 2:30, but that officers were not able to find a vehicle. A second report of a body in the vehicle a little over an hour later gave a different address about 3 blocks away. There, police officers found Mrs. Roberts' car parked behind a vacant house about 3 miles from her home. The authorities determined she had most likely been suffocated. The calls came from concerned citizens who were not involved with the killing. As the city braced for Hurricane Barry on Saturday, law enforcement officials said about investigating the death of the woman they knew as Miss Sadie, whom they called a tireless advocate for peace. Ms. Roberts-Joseph was known as a dedicated leader who ran programs from young people and staged annual celebrations for Juneteenth holiday and commemorating the end of slavery in the United States. A vigil was scheduled for Tuesday evening at her museum, at the Baton Rouge African American Museum, which tells the stories of African Americans in Louisiana. It is also known that Odell S. Williams Now and Then Museum of American History. She was one of the standout matriarchs of Baton Rouge. The mayor said, "We will make her legacy a priority here in Baton Rouge and East Baton Rouge Parish because of what she gave so many here." At a news conference, Angela mentioned Ms. Roberts-Joseph's daughter thanked the community and the government agencies who helped find a suspect so quickly. All her mother ever wanted was for the community to come together, precisely as it had after her death. Ms. Machen said in an emotional statement she vowed to continue her mother's work, calling Ms. Roberts-Joseph a relentless advocate for education and inclusivity, whatever that is, inclusivity. She worked so hard, she pushed, she got everything she could out of the 75 years that she lived. Ms. Macon said, "Probably double or triple the average person, certainly at least double me."
The body of 75-year-old Sadie Roberts-Joseph was found in the trunk of a car on Friday, not far from the founded almost 2 decades ago. CTM national correspondent Jerika Duncan is outside the museum in Baton Rouge with more on this story. Jerika, this is so shocking. She's 75 in the trunk of a car. This does not sound random at all. How is the community reacting?
The community is heartbroken, and as you mentioned, just how she was found is what makes it even more eerie. But this museum was her pride and joy. It's small, it's colorful, it's currently boarded up, but it played a major role in this community. A lot of people have stories about Miss Roberts, Sadie Roberts, and she said things like, education is important, a Nelson Mandela quote behind us. She also talked about the importance of education. Right now, police say they are not calling this a murder, but they're asking for anyone with information to help them.
Sadie Roberts-Joseph was a tireless advocate for peace in her Baton Rouge community. City leaders say the museum she founded was designed to bring the past to life.
To embrace our history, to learn of our past, and to be able to move forward
On Friday, police say Roberts-Joseph's body was found in the trunk of a car located on a residential street about 3 miles from her home and some 2 miles from her museum. Authorities have not said how she died or who owns the car. In an online post, the Baton Rouge Police Department paid tribute to Roberts-Joseph, calling her a treasure to our community and adding detectives are working diligently to bring the person or persons responsible for this heinous act to justice.
This particular crime on this particular individual left me empty.
State Representative C. Denise Marcel posted a remembrance on Facebook, calling Roberts-Joseph an amazing woman who loved her history.
She wanted to show you your history. She wanted you to touch your history. She wanted you to feel your history.
Roberts-Joseph recently hosted the city's annual Juneteenth celebration, commemorating the emancipation of slaves in the South. She also founded a local organization aimed at combating drugs and violence. Baton Rouge Mayor President Sharon Weston Broome says her commitment to the cultural and educational fabric of our community is beyond description. Those who loved her hope her legacy will live on.
Embrace diversity, learn of our history, and that's the only way we're going to be able to heal.
Roberts-Joseph was known and quoted for saying things like, if you don't know where you come from, you don't know where you're going. The mayor has offered a $5,000 cash reward for any information leading to an arrest and indictment. Anthony?
Okay, now reading more into this story, it says the police announced an arrest on Tuesday in the killing of Sadie Roberts-Joseph, 75, a beloved community leader in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and the founder of the city's African American History Museum. Chief Murphy J. Paul Jr. of the Baton Rouge Police Department said the suspect, Ronn Jermaine Bell, was a tenant in a residence Miss Roberts-Joseph owned. He was behind on his rent, though it was not clear if it was connected to the killing. The motive was still under investigation, Chief Paul said. Mr. Bell was charged with first-degree murder. Authorities said that he was a registered sex offender who had served time in prison for sexual battery of a child. They did not reveal how they found him, but they said they received many tips from the community. There were so many leads. There were so many people who wanted to help bring closure and bring an arrest. Mayor Sharon Weston Broome of Baton Rouge said in a news conference with law enforcement officials on Tuesday. Miss Joseph's body was discovered in the trunk of her own car with no visible signs of trauma in downtown Baton Rouge on Friday. 2 anonymous phone calls led police to her body, and it describes. Chief Paul said that the first call came around 2:30, but that the officers were not able to find a vehicle. A second report of a body in a vehicle a little over an hour later gave a different address about 3 blocks away. There, police officers found Miss Joseph's car parked behind a vacant house about 3 miles from her home. Authorities determined she had most likely been suffocated. The calls came from concerned citizens who were not involved with the killing, Chief Paul said. As the city braced for Hurricane Barry on Saturday, law enforcement officials said about investigating the death of the woman they knew as Miss Sadie, and whom they call a tireless advocate for peace. Miss Roberts-Joseph was known as a dedicated leader who ran programs for young people and staged annual celebrations for Juneteenth, the holiday commemorating the end of slavery in the United States. A vigil was scheduled for Tuesday evening at her museum, the Baton Rouge African American Museum, which tells stories of African Americans in Louisiana. It is also known as the Odell S. Williams Now and Then Museum of African American History. She was one of the standout matriarchs of Baton Rouge, Miss Broome, the mayor said, adding, "We will make her legacy a priority here in Baton Rouge and East Baton Rouge Parish because of what she gave to so many here." At the news conference, Angela Mason, Miss Roberts-Joseph's daughter, thanked the community and the government agencies who helped find the suspect so quickly. All her mother ever wanted for the community was to come together precisely as it had after her death. Ms. Major said in the emotional statement she vowed to continue her mother's work, calling Miss Roberts-Joseph a relentless advocate for education and inclusivity. She worked so hard, she pushed, she got everything she could out of 75 years that she lived, and probably double or triple the average person, certainly at least double me. Now, You had a few pro-blacks go on YouTube, and they were hinting that a white person, a so-called racist, was, responsible for these killings, for this killing. You had that going all over some people on Black YouTube, not everybody, because people will come on here and say, "Oh, I didn't talk about this." Oh, okay, but this is what you had, and a lot of people didn't touch it, and I'm sure a lot of people aren't going to touch this story because it doesn't fit their brand. It doesn't fit the profile. Now, the way this lady died at the hands of this man was sick, was disgraceful, and he was a registered sex offender. And I've talked about this plenty of times. That now this has gotten a lot of media attention because who she was. But what about the other innocent black people that have been killed? What about the innocent children that have been killed? Okay, Black YouTube doesn't talk about that. Okay, the pro-black sector of YouTube, they will never touch this. Okay, because it only seems that they care about black life when taken is when a racist white person do it, a white supremacist do it. But these kind of stories they will never touch. Okay, and I don't understand. You say you care about black people, you say you love black people, you want better for black people, but then when somebody does this, you will make an excuse. Oh, white supremacy caused them to do this. A racist white man caused them to go out there and kill her. Because you're going to get excuses like this all the time. I guarantee you're going to get people saying this stuff like this. Well, it's the system that caused him to kill this lady. I'm not blaming him. He shouldn't be arrested. He shouldn't be thrown in jail. People will say that on Black YouTube. And then you have people that give them an audience and they will listen to what they say and they will go off of what they say. Exactly. They will go off of what they say. Say, you know what? It's not his fault. It's white supremacy. White supremacy doesn't make you late on your rent. Racist white people does not make this man go out and kill this lady who was doing great work for the community, throwing events, staging celebrations, opening up a museum. So I don't want to hear about, oh, white supremacy this, white supremacy that. Yes, white supremacy is a big problem in this country. Race soldiers is a big problem in this country when it comes to police officers. It's a big problem. Okay, but at the end of the day, we have to start caring more about our people in our communities and say, you know what, we're not going to stand for anybody, our own, taking out one of our own, especially innocent people, innocent children. It shouldn't happen. Now, to kill this woman because you late on your rent because she probably was going to kick you out. That's what she probably was going to do. Probably got mad because she was going to kick him out because he was late on his rent. All you have to do is pay your rent. You live in a place, you pay your rent on time. If you don't pay your rent on time, you're going to get a notice. You're going to give a few chances to pay. If you don't pay, you're going to get kicked out. That's for everybody. If I don't pay my rent, if I don't pay my mortgage, I get thrown out. It's that simple. But to sit there and kill a 75-year-old woman who has done nothing but help the community, and then you're going to have some people that's going to blame white supremacy and racist people for this because it was coming. You know, there was a YouTuber once named Jay Miller. I don't think he's on YouTube anymore. You know, he left YouTube. He needs to come back. Okay. He was probably one of the most realest YouTubers out there because he would call everything out. He didn't care about what color you was. He wasn't concerned about, well, you can't say that in front of white people. No, he was one of the realest people out there. He would call things out when you did wrong. He would call things out. He would call us savages, even if our community was committed. He would call them out. Because you can't sit there and get mad when racist folks do it to us and then not get mad and act like, oh, okay, well, it happens. It was one of ours, so I'm not upset about it. Because this is what it sounds like. This is what it sounds like. And people got mad at him. People were calling him coon. People were calling him a sellout because he called out problems in the community. It's like, our own people can go out there and do whatever they want. They can wreak havoc. They could be savages. But when other people do it to us, it's a problem. But if we do it to our own, killing innocent children, innocent babies, oh, it's cool. It's okay. Because we won't call it out. And I don't care what you call me. You can call me whatever. Say what you want about me. But I'm a type of person that does care. Some people on YouTube, they don't care. They out getting this dollar. They out there just talking about racism all the time. If it has nothing to do with racism, they won't talk about it. When Jasmine Barnes was first killed, they thought it was a racist white person that did it. Oh, everybody was up in arms. But when they found out who actually did it, they never talked about it again. It was never talked about. It was like her death didn't mean crap to nobody because it wasn't done by a white supremacist. And this is the issue that I have with it. I don't care. A white, black person who goes out there and savagely disrupts the community and savagely kills an innocent person should be dealt with. And those people out there, they're not our friend. They're not part of the community. And they definitely need to be excommunicated from the community. But no, we don't talk about that. All we do when we get on YouTube, we talk about who you're dating. You talk about, oh, you dating a white person or not. You talk about somebody's hair. You talk about, oh, you too dark for this. I'm not dating you because you dark. Oh, I only date white women. I only date black women. Oh, who cares who you date? Quite frankly, who gives a damn who you date at this point? Because you ain't going to walk up nowhere. You're not going to walk up to no random black person with a white person and talk greasy to their face. I pray, I swear some of you won't do that because some of you might get knocked on your head. Because I know a few people that don't date, that dates outside of their race. And them somebody come up to them and say something to them. So all this, fake outrage about interracial dating and other nonsense going on when we should need to fix our own community and stop sitting there and giving passes for people doing things to our people, but you won't give passes to others. If you want to sit there and condemn them, then you got to condemn our people who are doing no good for the community. They need to be excommunicated. They need to be ostracized. They need to be excluded. They need to be thrown in jail when they need to be thrown in jail. But some of y'all on here beefing about nonsense. Other YouTubers beefing on other YouTubers about nonsense. It's stupid. This lady's old enough to be somebody's grandmother. And for her to die like that. And then you have people saying it was probably a white supremacist. Before you even did any research, you just jumped to a conclusion, and now you're wrong. They found the person, he's arrested, he's charged with first-degree murder. Okay, we need young people to start stepping up. We need young people to start stepping up and being advocates for the community. Young people need to do it. Let me know what you think about this video. Like the video and subscribe.